Good morning. Ah, new glasses?
No, I forgot to do my contact thing last night, so they were all like dried out and unwearable.
Oh, dear, I badly need to go to the opticians. It was one of those things that was like, I needed to do pre-COVID.
Yeah, but not at all critical enough to go during COVID.
Yeah, well, they were closed here for quite a long time. They opened, and I've got like an amazing optician who weirdly I had as a kid, and because I grew up around where I live, and then I moved away and I came back and I was like, oh, okay, great, I'll go back to this place. He's a fantastic optician, and they do quite a good job of like when you see them like doing continuations. They're like, oh, well, 6 months ago we talked about this, and so you go great. But he's also slightly like, he's a very softly spoken, very lovely guy, and I just don't want to be that close to another human. And I just think wearing face mask and everything is going to be the most awkward interaction I've ever heard of. So yeah. I'm like definitely still like, hey everyone, this is a super full room. I don't know we've had this many people in Delivery Weekly for like months. So awesome to see you. Welcome back, Myra. So awesome. Let's get started. So thank you for adding MTTP into the agenda, Skarbek. Anything you want to call out particularly, talk about?
Not really. Just we've had fewer deployments than we normally have had, just because we've had a few incidents and QA failures that would, hold us up from deploying more often than we've had. So like you could see the dip between was at 80 to 60 so far between the last two bars. But I don't see us needing to address that right now because we've got some PCLs coming up, so it's only going to appear worse for the next week. So
yeah, awesome. There's one thing as well I noticed. We were chatting with Davis. Alessio raised an issue to question MTTP, and Davis was chatting. One thing I noticed was I wonder if MTTP is calculating versus around Canary accurately. So anyway, I'm going to take advantage of PCL this weekend and take a little look at that closely and just see. There was some, to what looked to me, unusual spikes on this monthly calculation versus the weekly one. So, but overall, it's looking healthy. That's our lowest MTTP bar yet. So
the one thing, at least I am not satisfied with this chart, is I don't know which of these bars refers to what. Like, there's been, was this the third week of November, fourth week of November, some-ish? There's one bar and November is right under one bar. I don't know what this chart is referring to.
That's a great question, actually. Yeah, so actually what I'll do then, so based on the issue Alessio raised, we probably understand, I have admin rights, so I can also see the code. I probably understand 70-ish% of the calculation going on here. Let me run the experiments at the end of the week, and then I think I'll fully understand how this gets calculated, and then we can write it out, because actually a bit of a missing thing from our docs anyway. So let's next week, actually, I'll put something together and we can all review that and see if it covers what is actually going on here. Awesome. So down to discussion items. So I just wanted to briefly update and check in on release management plans. So some of you, but not all of you, were in conversations on Friday. We have been asked to do an urgent 14.2 backport. Because of the urgency around this, and the importance around this, we decided that what we'll do is increase the number of release managers that we have. So today, that means Henry and Robert, thank you for helping out here. And then tomorrow, Ruben will remain in release management, and Myra, if you'd be all right to help out as well to cover on the America side, in addition to Henry and Skarbek. Now, I'll put the link in, but fun twist on the 14.2 backport is after we got that all ready, we realized they're not actually ready to patch. So we're on a little bit of standby at the moment, but that will be coming in, and when it is ready, it will be a good one to get moving. So I'll put a link in for that. Then the other one I wanted to just check in on was we have PCLs in place this week and also next Monday. It is a soft PCL. So if we want to, we can be pushing right through up to Canary, but really it's a question of how do we want to manage this through this week and through Monday?
It sounds like you're asking for an opinion. I think
Yeah,
because
how do you
it's
want
a
to
soft,
manage this? Yeah, like
I think it's because it's a soft PCL. Could we just lock Canary and just not worry about production?
we could just not do the manual promotion and just leave it through running through to Canary.
I'm wondering, should we deploy to Canary? Is there benefits to deploying to Canary if we're never going to reach production? I guess is the primary question that I'm trying to get an answer to.
So my suggestion, if no one has any strong opinions on this, my suggestion will be, so during EMEA time, we have good coverage because Henry will be working, in fact, most of us are working. So my suggestion will be that we leave the pipelines running this week and allow at least some of those to run through to Canary, but perhaps we lock Canary for the Americas time so that Myra, it's not just all on you, because there should be nobody working pretty much aside from you, so it should be quiet. And then you can get on with your actual work. And then for Monday, we pause everything and turn off all the pipelines like we would usually do for a family and friends day.
Yeah, I think this makes sense because it's good to not have everything merged the next week at the same time, right? So at least once deploying to Canary in between, maybe that's a good thing while we have coverage during EMEA times. But we shouldn't do it too often. Yeah, so we can just disable them at America's time. I like this.
Great. Okay, so let's leave the pipelines running, and Henry, you can decide when you want to have Canary locked or unlocked, and we'll disable everything on Friday.
Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. Robert, over to you.
Yeah, sorry, I just added something because we just got pinged on this ongoing incident. There's an S1 and they are looking to do a rollback, but we've currently marked it as not rollbackable because there's 2 post-deploy migrations. However, those post-deploy migrations, the engineer said that they're idempotent and shouldn't actually be blocking a rollback. So I don't know if one of us wants to hop off and handle that now, or if we should discuss it some more.
Is it code related?
It's, I believe it's from a migration. Henry, you're the acting release manager, so I'll let you.
I'm not fully in all details. The problem is that we have an S1 currently incident because of database performance issues. And what we did, we disabled merge requests to get around this for now. And I think at least a few minutes ago, it still wasn't clear what is the cause of that. So if it was deployment related coming in by a change or not. And I'm sure if we have an answer to that, but I see that Stan suggested to roll back anyway, just to get merge requests running again and to unblock that. So I'm just trying to follow up what's happening here. So I'm not sure if we really decided that we want to roll back right now, because I got out of the incident call for this meeting.
Do someone one of you want to maybe go back to the incident call and just figure out if something to do?
Yeah, I can just jump back in. But what do we do then about rolling back with post-deploy migrations? Do we need to stop the currently running ones then?
None should be running because there's no deploy to production to the main stage.
So they already happened, right? Yeah, instead of background migrations.
Well, they would not have already.
They are
happened if
background
we-
migrations. That's so. I was looking at the two migrations. One is cleaning up sidekick queue. So I mean, it removed stuff from a queue, is no longer there. So no problem there. The other one is scheduling background migration jobs. And I don't know if that job was defined in the same code that got deployed. I mean, I was involved in the incident, so I don't know why they decided this is idempotent. If it's just gonna fail and all the jobs will fail and they don't care and say, oh, we'll just schedule later, I don't know. But so looking at here, there's nothing that will prevent the application from running. We may have just a bunch of errors from one of the migration, and the other one is, I mean, it deleted some stuff from Redis, so it's no longer there. And so yeah, who cares?
And the rollback commands, the runbook will just run, Henry. So though the checks say you shouldn't do it, you can do it.
Yeah, okay. Then I will go back to the incident code and see if we need to do a rollback now.
So Henry, just one thing, when you go back to see if you can find out, like, understand what's happening. If you need a pair for the rollback, or if it's late in your day to begin a rollback, shout, right? Because let's not forget, today we have 4 release managers, so we're in quite a privileged position if people want to pair up on this stuff.
Getting
right?
a little bit late, so if it's taking longer than half an hour, then I would ask for somebody else to take over maybe, but I will have a look in the incident channel to see what's going on now.
I'll
Then,
hop on after this call.
Yeah, see you later.
And you could,
Thanks,
you
Henry.
could just create that back to me when you're done.
Okay, thanks, Gavik.
Awesome. Great, thanks for bringing that up, Robert. Cool, so staging ref. I just wanted to mention this a little bit because I actually didn't realize you were also involved in reviews for this stuff. So just to make sure everyone's got enough context for here. So the staging ref environment exists now and it is being deployed to. That's currently in parallel with staging Canary. There's a slight question mark about whether that's exactly the right place. And that will be decided based on how long these deployments end up taking. So if they are much longer, then we can adjust that. If they're really quick, we can adjust that. Like, really, it's intended to be at some point before production, this thing needs to conclude. So we'll get a sense of how long this actually ends up taking. It is using a Get environment, and that is currently being built with the 10K reference architecture. So staging ref got named as it is so that it's not necessarily locked to the 10K environment. It may get upgraded later on, but for now, at least, it's using the 10K reference architecture. So it doesn't have absolutely everything that production has, for example. It is being used at the moment. So Quality have done most of the work to get this created, and they're currently developing new test suites to run on this environment. So once those things are hardened out, then staging ref will be a fully sort of fledged part of our deployment pipeline and will turn into a blocking stage. But for now, it isn't, because they're developing new tests. It's not really being used for anything particularly right now. And this will sit in parallel with our rest of our pipeline. So this is where the QA triggers and things like that become important to us, because we'll end up with staging Canary, staging ref, and staging all running different test suites and then fitting into our deployment pipeline at different points. So that's really just an update type thing. There are project updates being added into issue 341427 each week, mostly useful for Quality. So they're doing the kind of development on test suites and hooking things together. So are there any, like, that's just an update, but has anyone got any questions on staging ref?
Are we sending notifications to the announcements channel? Because I am not seeing any.
Not yet. No, they are going to QA staging ref. They will move back to announcements though when it becomes, before it becomes blocking. Yeah.
I can give a quick update from the incident if you want to.
Yeah, please go for it.
So they first want to test the effect of a feature flag and look into vacuuming. If that doesn't show effect, then they want to ping us for a rollback. So we will get pinged, and they know that we will just listen on release manager's Slack ping. Awesome. So that's where we are, but we should get prepared for doing a rollback.
Cool. Awesome. Any other staging ref questions? One thing I know that we are missing is the kind of all of our extra stuff that goes on top. So I know that we don't have good observability of staging ref. We probably don't have any ability to lock or unlock or do any of the actual kind of environment management that we do. So again, before we go to a blocking stage, or if there's blocking, we may want to consider having some override. But for now, don't spend, if you think of something like, oh, we should definitely think of this, please feel free to ping it somewhere, even just to me in Slack. Otherwise, don't worry too much about it. We'll I'll spend some time and actually like figure out what we need to hook this into like proper delivery stuff. Awesome. Skarbek, over to you.
Yeah, just a question. One-on-ones primarily with you. Are you gonna move those to a different week? Or are we gonna move it to earlier this week, etc.? Whatever.
What would you like? What's your preference?
I personally don't care. If you want to skip this week with me, I'm okay with it. If you want to move it up to earlier this week, that way, you're not stomping on my Thanksgiving. That's also perfectly fine.
Cool. Okay. Well, let me ping you and we'll coordinate on that and figure out a good time. Awesome. Anything else for the recording? Yep, awesome.